Since the release of Toram Online all the way back in 2015, there's always been a couple of weapon choices that stood out amongst the rest. And as the game has been updated and evolved throughout the years, the advantage that these select few weapons held only grew more and more apparent. So what advantage am I really talking about? Well, to answer that question, first we're going to take a look at the bow. Bow has always been a very popular choice amongst players, and it has some insane strengths and advantages. The massive burst damage from crossfire, paired with the insane physical pierce from satellite arrow, as well as the insane damage over time and multi-hit capabilities of retrograde shot, makes bow an absolute monster and a fan favorite of the game. But believe it or not, none of these make up the reason why I think bow is actually so strong. The real strength I think bow holds is actually in its range. But range doesn't give any extra DPS. Well, at first glance, it may seem like range wouldn't affect damage, but that actually couldn't be further from the truth. And of course, bow isn't the only weapon in the game with access to range. However, I do think it is one of the best abusers of it. So why is range so important? I believe it comes down to two main reasons: safety and opportunity. Safety as a DPS is very, very important and often overlooked. Your main job as a DPS is to do damage, and if you're dead, well, you can't do that. So range provides a nice little layer of safety in helping you keep alive very easily. Many monsters' attacks happen to be very, very close to the monster itself, which means if you can attack from a range, you're naturally just safe from those attacks. You don't have to worry about them at all. This makes most weapons that have range, such as staff, magic device, bow, bowgun, amongst others, a lot easier to play than others. Before we continue, I'd like to ask all of you guys, if you're enjoying this video, please let me know by leaving a like. And if you want to see more Toram Online content from me, consider subscribing to my channel. Your guys' support has been amazing, and I really appreciate all of you guys. Back to the video. So yeah, range makes it significantly easier to dodge attacks and to stay alive, right? So how does that necessarily impact your DPS? Well, that's because when you have range, you get more opportunity to deal your own damage. Let me explain using a small selection of images. If you play a close range DPS class in this game, these pictures absolutely break your heart. It is very common for new bosses to include spikes in their moveset, which pretty much disable any physical DPS on the field for their entire duration. If you don't have any range, you have two choices: move away from the spikes and sit there until they go away, or you die. This is detrimental because it means that physical close range DPS classes aren't able to do anything for quite a bit of time. These spike type moves that put a ring around boss monsters is getting very, very common, and typically a majority of them last for enough time to really slow down the pace of a DPS. But this is exactly why range is so important to any DPS character now. Let me give you a hypothetical scenario. You're fighting a boss in a party of 4. You have one tank, you have 2 close range DPS, and then you have 1 long range DPS. The boss casts spikes a total of 4 times, each lasting around 5 seconds. Physical DPS aren't able to use any skills or collect any MP while the spikes are up. Who do you think is more likely to earn the attacker rank at the end of that boss fight? The long range DPS for sure. They don't have to worry about the spikes impeding their DPS. They don't even have to move out of the way. They're free to attack, use skills, collect MP, anything they want really, while the boss casts the spikes, which is exactly why range is such a powerful tool, especially considering the bosses that we fight today. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible to take the attacker rank in this scenario, but what I am saying is that it's going to be significantly more difficult for close range to pick up anything, especially considering they have so much downtime while long range gets to just do whatever they want. If you want to play a weapon that can take advantage of long range, you have a couple of options. You've got your bow and bowgun, you've got tool swords, you have magic device, you have staff, and then you have halberd. Halberd only gets about 4 meters, which sometimes is enough to bypass some spikes, but more often than not, you can actually exclude halberd. Are there any advantages of range that I missed? If there are any that you can think of, please let me know in the comment section down below. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.